Rachel Morgan bent down to scrub the baseboard in Theodore Bennett's living room and felt the baby kick hard. She pressed her hand to her swollen belly, trying to breathe through the discomfort. 7 months pregnant. Working on her hands and knees. Cleaning a penthouse that probably cost more than she'd make in her entire lifetime. This was not how she'd imagined her life turning out. "You okay in there?" Her supervisor Maria's voice came through the earpiece Rachel wore. Elite cleaning services required all staff to stay connected during jobs. "Fine," Rachel lied, struggling to her feet. The baby kicked again, and she had to grip the back of Theo's designer couch to stay upright. "You sure? You sound out of breath." "The baby's just active today. Maybe you should take a break." "I'm almost done. Just need to finish the living room and kitchen." Rachel had been cleaning Theodore Bennett's penthouse for 3 months now. Every Tuesday and Friday 2 p.m. to 6 p.m., while he was at his office running Bennett Technologies. She'd never actually met him. Never wanted to. Because 8 months ago, before she was pregnant and desperate, Rachel had met Theodore Bennett exactly once. At a masquerade charity ball. She'd been working as a paralegal then. Her firm had tickets to the Riverside Children's Foundation Gala. Rachel had worn a green dress from a consignment shop and a mask she'd made herself. She'd felt like Cinderella. And then she'd met him. A man in a black mask. Tall, dark hair, eyes she couldn't quite see. They'd danced. Talked for hours. Disappeared to a private terrace overlooking the city. One perfect night. No names. No numbers. Just a connection so intense it had scared her. The next morning, Rachel had slipped away before he woke up. Back to reality. Back to her real life. For weeks later, she'd found out she was pregnant. 6 weeks after that, she'd lost her job. The law firm had downsized. Last hired, first fired. Pregnant, unemployed, with medical bills piling up, Rachel had taken the only job she could find that offered flexible hours and didn't require standing for 8 straight hours. Cleaning. And because the universe had a sick sense of humor, Elite Cleaning Services had assigned her to the penthouse of Theodore Bennett. The man from the masquerade ball. The father of her baby. Who had absolutely no idea who she was. Rachel had recognized him the first time she'd seen his photo on the entry table. Those eyes. That jaw. 8 months later, she still remembered exactly what he looked like. But Theo didn't recognize her. How could he? That night she'd been blonde, temporary dye for the ball. Now she was brunette. She'd worn contacts then. Now she wore thick glasses. She'd been 20 pounds lighter and dressed like someone who belonged at fancy galas. Now she was pregnant, exhausted, and dressed in a grey cleaning service uniform. 2 different worlds. 2 different women. Rachel finished the living room and moved to the kitchen. Just 1 more hour and she could go home, prop up her swollen feet, and try not to think about the fact that she was raising a billionaire's baby in a 1-bedroom apartment she could barely afford. She was loading cleaning supplies back into her caddy when it happened. A contraction. Sharp. Brutal. Radiating from her belly through her entire body. Rachel gasped, dropping the spray bottle. It couldn't be labor. She was only 32 weeks. It was too early. Way too early. Another contraction hit. Stronger. Rachel grabbed the kitchen counter, breathing hard. "Okay," she whispered to herself. "Okay. Braxton Hicks. Just Braxton Hicks. Practice contractions. Completely normal." Except Braxton Hicks contractions weren't supposed to be this painful. Rachel fumbled for her phone. Called her doctor's office. "Prenatal care, how can I help you?" "I'm having contractions," Rachel gasped. "I'm only 32 weeks. They're really painful and..." Another one hit. Rachel cried out. "How far apart are they?" Rachel checked her watch. Tried to breathe. 3 minutes. Maybe less. "You need to get to the hospital. Now. Can someone drive you?" "I'm at work. I'm alone. I can call an Uber." "Call 911. If you're in active labor at 32 weeks, you need an ambulance." Rachel's hands shook as she dialed. Gave the address. Tried to explain that she was okay, just pregnant, Just having contractions too early. Stay on the line, the dispatcher said. Help is on the way. Are you alone? Yes. I'm cleaning a penthouse. My client isn't home. Try to stay calm. Can you unlock the door for the paramedics? Rachel shuffled to the door, unlocked it, and collapsed against the wall as another contraction hit. This was bad. This was really, really bad. She was going into premature labor. Alone. In a billionaire's penthouse. While cleaning his kitchen. The universe's sense of humor was getting worse. Welcome back to Timeless Romance, where we bring you emotional stories of love. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification button right now so you don't miss what happens next. And if you're one of our returning viewers, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Now, stay with us to the end of this story. Leave a comment with your thoughts and like this video. Let's continue. Theodore Bennett stood in his corner office looking out at the Chicago skyline and tried to focus on the quarterly reports his CFO was presenting. But his mind kept drifting. 8 months. 8 months since the masquerade ball. Since the woman in the green dress. Since the most perfect night of his life. He'd tried to find her. Hired investigators. Checked the guest list. But she'd been someone's plus one. Paid in cash, no name recorded. The ball had been masquerade. Most people hadn't removed their masks until late in the evening. By then, she was gone. Theo had woken up alone in his hotel suite with nothing but the memory of her laugh and the faint scent of her perfume on his pillow. Mr. Bennett. Sir. Theo turned. His CFO was staring at him. I'm sorry. What was the question? Should we approve the expansion budget? Theo's phone rang before he could answer. His assistant. She never called during meetings unless it was urgent. Excuse me, Theo told the CFO and answered. Yes. Mr. Bennett, there's an issue at your penthouse. Theo's stomach dropped. What kind of issue? I just got a call from building security. An ambulance just arrived. They're taking someone out on a stretcher. Someone broke in. No, sir. It's your cleaning lady. She went into labor. Theo blinked. What? Your Tuesday cleaning lady. Rachel Morgan. She's pregnant and apparently went into premature labor while working. Security called to inform you since it's your residence. Is she okay? They're transporting her to Northwestern Memorial. I thought you'd want to know. Yes. Thank you. Theo ended the call and grabbed his jacket. Meeting's over. Something came up. But the budget. Approve it. I trust your judgment. Theo was already heading for the door. He didn't know why he felt compelled to go to the hospital. The cleaning lady wasn't his employee. She worked for Elite Cleaning Services. This wasn't his responsibility. But someone had gone into labor in his home. Alone. That felt like something he should check on. Make sure she was okay. Theo made it to Northwestern Memorial in 15 minutes. He found the maternity ward and explained the situation to the nurse at the desk. Rachel Morgan. The nurse checked her computer. She's in labor and delivery. Room 347. Are you family? No. She was working at my house when this happened. I just wanted to make sure she's okay. The nurse's expression softened. That's kind of you. I'll let her know you're here. Theo sat in the waiting room. He suddenly felt ridiculous. What was he doing here? The woman probably didn't want her client showing up at the hospital. But before he could leave, a doctor appeared. Mr. Bennett. I'm Dr. Patel. Rachel Morgan's OB. How is she? In active labor. The baby's coming whether we like it or not. Dr. Patel's expression was serious. She's 32 weeks. That's early, but survivable. The baby will need care, but odds are good. That's good. I just wanted to make sure. She's asking for you. Theo froze. What? Ms. Morgan is asking if you're here. She seems distressed. I think she wants to see you. Theo had no idea why the cleaning lady would want to see him. But he nodded. Of course. Dr. Patel led him through double doors and down a hallway to room 347. Rachel Morgan lay in a hospital bed, monitors beeping around her. Her face was pale and sweaty. She wore a hospital gown and the same thick glasses she always wore at his house. Their eyes met. Rachel's face crumbled. "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to go into labor in your house. I tried to leave but the contractions." She gasped as another one hit. "It's okay," Theo said quickly, moving to her bedside. "Don't worry about that. Are you okay? Is there anyone I can call? Family? The baby's father?" "No family," Rachel managed. "And the father doesn't know. He doesn't know you're pregnant. He doesn't know I exist." Rachel laughed bitterly, then cried out as another contraction hit. "Should you be alone for this?" Theo asked Dr. Patel. "It would be better if someone were with her. Labor is traumatic enough without facing it alone." Dr. Patel looked at Theo. "Would you be willing to stay? Just until the baby comes?" Theo looked at Rachel. This woman he'd seen dozens of times at his penthouse. Quiet. Professional. Invisible. "If that's okay with you," he asked gently. Rachel's eyes filled with tears. "You'd do that? You don't even know me. You went into labor in my home. That feels like... I should make sure you're okay." Theo pulled up a chair. "I'll stay. If you want. Please," Rachel whispered. "I don't want to be alone." The next 4 hours were the longest of Theo's life. He held Rachel's hand through contractions, brought her ice chips, let her squeeze his hand so hard he lost feeling in his fingers. And somewhere during those hours, something shifted. Rachel was brave. Even in pain, even terrified, she cracked jokes, made the nurses laugh, apologized constantly for inconveniencing everyone. "You're not an inconvenience," Theo told her during a quiet moment. "You're amazing. I don't know how you're doing this." "I don't have a choice," Rachel said. "Everyone has a choice. You're choosing to be strong." Rachel looked at him carefully. "Why are you really here? You could have left hours ago." Theo sighed. "I don't know. But I feel like I'm supposed to be here. Like this matters." Before Rachel could respond, Dr. Patel returned. "Okay, Rachel. You're fully dilated. It's time to push." What happened next would change everything. The baby was born at 7:23 p.m. A boy. Tiny. Early. But with strong lungs that announced his arrival to the entire floor. The NICU team moved quickly. "We need to get him on oxygen. Get his vitals stable." "Wait," Rachel cried. "Can I see him? Please?" A nurse brought the baby to Rachel for a brief moment. Just long enough for her to see his face. And for Theo to see it too. The baby had dark hair. A strong chin. And when his eyes opened for a brief second, they were the exact shade of blue Theo saw in the mirror every morning. Theo's breath caught. "Rachel," he said slowly. "That baby looks..." Rachel began crying. "Like you." "I know. Because he's yours." The room went silent. Even the nurses stopped moving. "What?" Theo's voice didn't sound like his own. 8 months ago. The Riverside Children's Foundation Gala. You were wearing a black mask. I was wearing green." Theo's world tilted. The woman in the green dress. The perfect night. The woman he'd been searching for. "You," he breathed. "You were." "Yes. And you've been cleaning my house for 3 months. Pregnant with my baby. And you never told me." "I didn't think you'd remember me," Rachel whispered. "I'm a cleaning lady. You're Theodore Bennett." That night was. "I thought it was just a fantasy. Not real life." "It was the realest night of my life," Theo said. "I looked for you. For months. I thought." He looked toward the baby the nurses were wheeling toward the NICU. "That's my son." "Yes." Theo stood slowly. He walked toward the tiny baby. Looked down at this fragile human who was his. "What's his name?" he asked quietly. "I don't know yet," Rachel said. "I wanted to wait until I saw him." Theo swallowed hard. Can I go with him? Can I go with him to the ICU?" Rachel nodded. "Please. I don't want him to be alone." Theo followed the NICU team down the hallway in a daze. His son. He had a son. A premature baby who needed oxygen and 4 lines and monitoring. A baby whose mother had been cleaning his house while pregnant and struggling, while he'd been living in his penthouse completely unaware. The guilt was crushing. But so was the wonder. The NICU nurse allowed Theo to hold his son for a brief moment before placing him in the incubator. The baby was impossibly small. His fingers wrapped weakly around Theo's finger. Theo felt something inside him break open. "Hi, buddy," Theo whispered. "I'm your dad. I'm so sorry I didn't know about you sooner. But I'm here now. I'm here, and I'm never leaving." The baby's tiny hand squeezed his finger. And in that moment, Theo felt his heart completely change. He stayed in the NICU for almost an hour before a nurse gently reminded him that Rachel was still recovering. Theo returned to Rachel's room. She looked exhausted. And terrified. "How is he?" she asked immediately. Theo sat beside her. "Stable. The doctors say he's strong. His lungs are developing well. He'll need to stay in the NICU for a few weeks, but the prognosis is good." Rachel exhaled in relief. Tears rolled down her face. Then guilt appeared in her eyes. "Theo, I'm so sorry. I should have told you. But I didn't think." "Stop apologizing," Theo said firmly. "Rachel, you need to understand something. That night at the gala. I've been searching for you for 8 months. I hired investigators. I've been miserable trying to find the woman in the green dress." Rachel blinked in shock. "You looked for me. Every single day. I thought about you constantly." Theo shook his head slowly. "And all this time, you were right there. In my home. And I didn't see you." Rachel looked down. "I didn't want you to see me. I was embarrassed." "Okay. If you've watched this story up to this point, it means it moved you. Leave your thoughts and tell me where you are watching from in the comments. And make sure to like and hit the subscribe button if you haven't. If you found value in this story, smash that like button. It really helps my channel grow." The next 6 weeks were a journey. Their son, whom they named Lucas Theodore Bennett, spent 5 weeks in the NICU before he was strong enough to come home. Theo was there every single day. Early mornings before work. Lunch breaks. Evenings after meetings. He learned how to change tiny NICU diapers. How to feed through an NG tube. How to hold a premature baby without disturbing all the wires attached to him. Rachel was there too. Pumping breast milk every 3 hours. Reading to Lucas. Singing soft lullabies beside the incubator. Slowly, in the quiet moments between nurse check-ins and doctor updates, Theo and Rachel began to truly know each other. Not the fantasy connection they shared at the masquerade ball. Real connection. Built on exhaustion. On fear. On hope. And on the quiet miracle of watching their son grow stronger every single day. One evening, as Lucas slept peacefully in his incubator, Theo sat beside Rachel. "Tell me about yourself," he said softly. "The real things. Not the fantasy version." Rachel hesitated at first. Then she began to talk. She told him about growing up in foster care. About moving from house to house. About learning early that the only person she could truly rely on was herself. She told him how she had worked 2 jobs while putting herself through college. How she had dreamed of becoming a lawyer. Not for money, but to help other foster kids who aged out of the system with no support. "I wanted to help them navigate adulthood," she said quietly. "Legal help. Housing rights. Education access." Theo listened carefully. "You can still do that," he said. Rachel shook her head. "With a newborn baby. Working cleaning jobs. It's not realistic." Theo looked at her seriously. "It is." Rachel frowned. "How?" "With me helping." Rachel immediately stiffened. "I don't want to be a kept woman." Theo smiled gently. "Then don't be. Finish your degree. Go to law school. I'll pay for it." Rachel stared at him. "I'll also make sure you have childcare for Lucas," Theo continued. "You focus on becoming the lawyer you were meant to be." Rachel looked completely stunned. "Why would you do that?" Theo answered without hesitation. Because you're brilliant. Because Lucas deserves a mother who is fulfilled. And because I love you. The words hung in the air between them. Rachel whispered softly, "You love me." Theo nodded. "I've loved you since the moment you walked onto that terrace in the green dress. But now, I love you even more. I love your strength. I love the way you never gave up. I love the way you sing to Lucas when you think no one is listening. And I love that you chose to keep our baby even when life made it incredibly hard." Rachel's eyes filled with tears. "I love you too," she admitted. "But Theo, we barely know each other." Theo squeezed her hand. "Then let's change that. Move in with me." Rachel blinked in surprise. "Not as my employee. Not as someone I'm rescuing. As my partner. As the mother of my son. As the woman I want to build a life with." Rachel laughed softly through her tears. "That's crazy." Theo grinned. "Probably. But doing everything the safe way hasn't exactly made me happy." "You make me happy, Rachel. You and Lucas." Rachel looked at the incubator where their tiny son slept peacefully. Then she looked back at Theo. After a long moment, she nodded. "Okay," she said quietly. "Let's try." 3 weeks later, Lucas finally came home. Theo's penthouse had completely transformed. A nursery painted in soft blue and grey. Shelves filled with baby books. Every baby gadget imaginable. Rachel walked into the nursery and stared. "You went a little overboard," she laughed. Theo shrugged defensively. "I wanted to be prepared." Rachel noticed 3 different bottle warmers on the counter. "You bought 3 of the same thing." Theo rubbed the back of his neck. They all had good reviews. Rachel couldn't stop laughing. Theo insisted Rachel have her own bedroom. "No pressure," he told her. "I want you to feel comfortable." But most nights, Rachel ended up in Theo's room anyway. Talking. Laughing. Sharing stories late into the night. They learned each other's habits. Theo discovered Rachel sang terribly off-key in the shower. Rachel discovered Theo couldn't cook to save his life. But he made excellent coffee. They navigated the chaos of newborn life together. Midnight feedings. Diaper disasters. Sleepless nights. The first time Lucas smiled. The first time he laughed. And with every passing day, their love deepened. Not the fantasy love from a masquerade ball. But something stronger. Something real. A love built on truth. On partnership. On family. And sometimes, late at night, when Lucas slept peacefully between them, Rachel would look at Theo and smile. "Can you believe all of this started with a masquerade ball?" Theo would kiss her forehead and smile back. "No," he would say softly. "But I'm very glad it did."